right, Gorilla. So, since there's so much information on these clubs, I'm going to take the clubs by group and talk about the different characteristics and what those clubs will do or how they will function for you as you upgrade them, and which are the clubs to upgrade, or which are the clubs you're really going to benefit from the most if you do upgrade them. Now, down the road, when coins are no longer an issue, then it's a mute point. It won't really matter. You can upgrade the clubs as they become available. But right now, because you want to use a little bit of strategy in how you spend your coin, it's good to know which clubs are not going to be worth it long term. Okay, so as you probably already know, but I'm going to go through all the basics so that there's a clear understanding on how this game works. There's three levels of clubs, as you guys have already probably noticed. The ones that are squared off in blue are the common clubs. The ones in the orange, yellowish orange tint are the rare, and then these in purple are what they call epics. Now, just because they're epic clubs, all right, don't let that name mislead you or that particular category confuse you, because there's certain epic clubs that are not worth upgrading long term, so they're not worth spending your money on. So as I mentioned, since there's a lot of information on these clubs, I'm going to go through these clubs by type. So obviously there's drivers, woods, long irons, short irons, wedges, rough irons, and sand wedges. And I'm going to talk a little bit about drivers in particular. Now, I recommend highly that you watch my video on the ring system, because the ring system is what's going to make this all worth your time, and it's what's going to make sense on what I'm talking about. So if you don't know the ring system, then I strongly suggest you look at that. But assuming that you've already looked at that prior, let's talk about the drivers. Now, there are a total of 8 clubs per group. So in other words, there's 8 drivers, 8 woods, etc. You get these clubs, or these clubs become accessible, or you're able to play these based on the tour that you're playing or the tours that you've been able to open, right? So every person starts with beginner drivers, beginner clubs in general, and then these are in the category of tour. So for example, the Rocket is available and accessible in Tours 1, the Extra Mile in Tour 2, Tour 3 for the Big Topper, 4 for the Quarterback, etc. till you get to Tour 7. Obviously, I haven't opened these yet. But one thing I do recommend is don't rush through the tours. Try to get all of the trophies that you get in each tour so that you can maximize your potential of earning, opening, and upgrading these clubs. If you're not upgrading these clubs the way that you'd like to, for example, if you're going to use the Extra Mile, which is a very, very strong club in this game, and you want to be able to upgrade this club, try not to move up too much in tours. Try to play that particular tour where that club is provided or given. For example, the Extra Mile obviously is earned in Tour 2. So you're going to get Tour 2 chess if you're playing Tour 2. Obviously, if you win games, you get your chess per game 1. And then you're going to want to open up those tour chess, because because the club is acquired in the tour that you're playing. For example, Tour 2 is the Extra Mile. Then if you want to get more Tour 2 cards, Extra Mile cards, you're going to want to play Tour 2. And so that will increase your probability of getting more Extra Mile clubs. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. So, for example, does that mean that you're not going to get Tour 2 clubs or Extra Mile cards, in Tours 5 or 6? Absolutely. However, you're also getting cards from clubs that are available to Tours 3, 4, 5, and the 6th tour that you're playing. So if you want to reduce the amount of variety of club cards that you're getting, and you want to concentrate on one club, then play the tour that you're getting those clubs at. Hopefully that makes sense to you, right? So in the world of drivers, the Extra Mile is by far, up to when you start to open and upgrade your Apocalypse, your Extra Mile is the club that's going to provide you with the most amount of distance. At the end of the day, your drivers are intended to be your long your distance clubs, right? So extra mile is your go-to club. The Rocket, great club. You get it in Tour 1. However, as soon as you open up the quarterback, the Rocket kind of takes a back seat because the accuracy is great, but the power isn't that good, right? The ball guide is great, but you're not gonna go, you're not gonna get a lot of distance out of the Rocket. Whereas the quarterback, the accuracy, even at a level 6, is already at 100%, and your power is much higher compared to, again, the Rocket that's at a level 8. It's still a little bit less than the quarterback. And power is everything when you're talking about drivers. Okay? Ball guide is still a little bit better on the Rocket. Sometimes the Rocket will be used, particularly in tournaments, because of the amount of backspin, so more ball control. As you start to play higher tournaments, um, your shootouts and your par threes are going to typically you're going to use there's a lot of advantage in using your driver as your club rather than your wood or maybe your long iron. So the lower tours on shootouts, you're typically going to use long irons, maybe a driver, but more times than none, you're going to use a long iron. But as they go up, you're moving back on your tees. You've got 3 tees: the back, the middle, and the front. When you start to get to the middle tee or playing off the back tee, then definitely your drivers become your shootout club. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. So each of these clubs have special characteristics. The Big Topper is designed to be a topspin club, right? You're at 100% even at a level 3. That's what makes it epic. However, power is not great compared to the Extra Mile, which is much higher even from the get-go. I believe, I want to say, I'll give you the stats exactly. The Extra Mile provides 220 yards at the moment that you open that club, that you attain that club. So at power up from level 5, from level 1 to level 5, you only really get 6 yards of distance with the Extra Mile as you're upgrading it. However, what starts to increase is a little bit of your ball guide, your accuracy, and your curl, backspin, and what have you. Down the road, the curl is going to be important on all clubs rather. So the Extra Mile will get up to, I'll tell you right now, up to 50% of club curl capacity, right? As opposed to, for example, the Apocalypse, which is going to have a curl of 100%. So double the amount that the Extra Mile provides. So again, you don't get the Apocalypse till Tour 7, and you're going to need that curl, but down the road. Right now, Extra Mile is your go-to club. Now, I'm not saying that the other clubs other than the Extra Mile don't have any value. Each club has a certain level of value, right? But it's just understanding those clubs and when to use them that's most important. So for drivers, there's always going to be a time when you can use them. There's always going to be an opportunity for you to maximize the use of the Big Topper's top spin, the accuracy of the quarterback, the overall average stats of the Rock, which is great when you start to upgrade them. Just right now, that club doesn't provide a whole lot of value because as it stands right now, great ball guide, great power compared to the top Big Topper, and the accuracy is pretty decent. But look, very little top spin on the Rock. So if you're trying to achieve accuracy with a little more power than the quarterback, then this might be your club. But comparing it, for example, to the quarterback at a level 6, the Rock compared, the accuracy on the quarterback is much greater. The ball guide is almost the same, but you've got better curl, a little more topspin, a little better backspin. So if the difference between 207 and 215 is not going to make a big impact on the shot you're going to make or where you're intending on landing, then your quarterback might still be your better club. Now, I use the Rock. I mean, I've used the Rock on shootouts, and it does okay. But because I don't have a whole lot of, level 2, for example, has 0 backspin. So for shootouts at this level, it's not going to prove to be very useful. So again, the Rock is a decent club, but only once it's upgraded to a certain level. So Thor's Hammer, great club. Obviously, you don't get it till Tour 6. And remember, you're going to want to upgrade these, particularly the extra mile, because you're going to use the heck out of it. It's going to be your go-to distance club. And then these clubs do become useful, helpful, but they're going to become a lot more helpful once you obviously open them and when you start to upgrade these. Great potential on Thor's Hammer. I don't have it yet, but it gives you 50% off the bat, 220 yards at a level 1. Yeah, the ball guy is not that great. The curl isn't excellent, but the top spin is what ultimately makes this this, I guess it's secret power, if you will, is going to be your top spin. Level 1, you're already getting a 45% top spin level. So by a level 6, for example, on the Thor's Hammer, it's an epic club, so it's going to take you a while to upgrade. You don't get as many clubs per chest, but once you do, you're going to find the Thor's Hammer really changes the game on you, right? But for right now, you're not getting that club, so it's something you're going to definitely take advantage of down the road. So if you are in a clan that gives you access to 2 or 3 bags, my recommendation is use 1 bag for, well, I obviously have changed the rock. I'm going to take it back to, I always have my first bag with my extra mile because it's going to be my most common used bag. I'm going to use the sniper as my wood for its accuracy. And then these clubs are pretty much have kept the same. I don't know that there's a club that you shouldn't upgrade when we're talking about drivers. There's really, up to Tour 5, all of these clubs are excellent club, and you're going to want to upgrade them. So I don't have the do not, spend your money on club for the drivers. I would say that the videos on the long irons and short irons, and definitely your wedges and stuff, that's where you're really going to see a lot of those clubs that aren't worth, even at Epic, they're not worth upgrading. But if you are able to get the Rocket, you're going to use that quite a bit. And if you're able to use the if you try to get as many club cards for the extra mile as possible. All right, guys, so I hope I've explained the drivers at an introductory level that's understandable. And there's a lot of information that I can provide on these clubs, and I will as I get into videos that are more specific tour playing videos. And there's where I'll be able to show you some special benefits to these clubs and how they are going to, how you'll be able to maximize the use of these clubs as you play. But right now, if you have a clan that gives you access to at least 2 bags, I would definitely make my go-to bag or my first bag my driver for distance, the extra mile, and then my wood for accuracy, like the sniper. Or if you have right now, you've got the Viper, then that's what it is. And I will get into other videos that will talk about the other club groups, woods, long and short irons, etc. But right now, as far as the drivers, the clubs that I would recommend if you do have 2 bags, if you only have access to 2 bags, would be 1 for distance, 1 for accuracy. So accuracy being really your quarterback, if that's the club that you've upgraded, or the Rocket, depending on the tour that you're playing, and the bags or the club cards that you've gotten up to this point. So I hope this video has proved to be useful, and if you've got some comments, please provide it either below if you're looking at this in YouTube, on our YouTube page, or if you've got Facebook, hit me up at Gorilla Farm GC, where you can also reach out through Messenger. And if there's information that I can provide to you, additional information or stats on the clubs, I'll be happy to provide it to you. Just reach out to me and ask, and I'll send you everything that I have. And like I said, I hope this proves to be useful. So hope to see you on the green. Good luck, guys.